Welcome to Why Marketing Isn't Magic, where we're delving into the strategy and intention behind marketing and communications efforts and dispelling the myths that marketing is easy. You can just do it tomorrow and you just wave a wand and hocus pocus, it happens. In today's episode, we're talking about PR, public relations, and my guest is Sam Pell from Linda Roth Associates. Sam, what's up?
Hello, so good to see you.
Right, now like I don't see you all the time.
I know.
Right, full disclosure, LRA is our agency of record. So let's get into the first question. Why do you think, in general, people have this misconception that marketing's easy? Like, whatever, it's fine.
I think it's because people are not like thrown into the weeds with marketing ever. Like if you think about a day-to-day job, like I even think of, my parents. My parents, full disclosure, they have no clue what I do. They're like, oh, you just like get to go to fun restaurants and go to cool events. And they like see me with, living a lavish life. I have champagne in my hand. Like, oh, this is your job, right? You just get to like network and go around. And I'm like,
Mom.
Yeah, that's not what I do. Actually, like there's a lot of strategy, there's planning, there's communication, there's like timelines, there's agendas. And so I think it's really just when you're growing up in school, like it's marketing isn't like marketing 101, right? I'm like, I need to learn English, I need to learn math, I need to learn science. When I go to college, maybe I have the chance to learn marketing and business, but if that's really not my direction, then I don't really know what's happening. I just really think that marketing isn't something that's taught at a young age and something that people really understand. You watch ads, you see commercials, but I don't think for a lot of people it clicks in their mind that this is marketing and how did that actually start and begin from start to finish.
I think that's so good, Sam, because even in college, because marketing was in business, School of Business, I went to Howard, School of Business, yay, but I was in School of C. I sort of shied away from it because I thought it was mostly numbers. And personally, now that I'm in the field, I feel like there is a cross-pollination of marketing and communications. I know there are some people who just do marketing, but I think for a lot of us, it's marketing and communications. It's both. And so you can't have one without the other. It reminds me of place management. It's hard to explain, like, what do you do? What's a bid? What's a SID? What's this? Same thing. Many of us in the UPMO, as we call it, industry, place management industry, our parents or colleagues or loved ones don't know what we do, or it takes so long to explain, what you do. One of the things you said was people don't get in the weeds of it. But the thing about public relations is we are all in the weeds of it, whether it's crisis or not. Like we were just doing a press release. You're turning it around quickly. We're looking to see, is this the right framework? Do we have the right information? Talk a little bit about, I think there is this even more misconception about PR. And people feel like they don't need it, or it's, I only need it in a crisis. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, I think PR in general, everyone, you're correct, thinks that they just need it when there's a scandal happening, when something horrible goes wrong, when your numbers aren't where they're supposed to be in Q1, and now you need to frame it differently for Q2. But in reality, I think with my PR firm and how we work and operate, it's you need constant messaging 24/7 because people need to understand who you are, what you do, and then they have that full picture even before you get into a crisis. And we can even save the crisis before it happens with really good messaging and with kind of those pillars. We already have a strategy in place. We know X, Y, and Z. We know step 1, 2, 3, 4, 200 to make sure that we have backup plan on backup plan. So I think, I completely agree. I think PR is needed 24/7, 12 months out of the year. It's not just call someone up when something bad happens. You also want to celebrate your wins.
That's true.
I think that's a big part of PR that people just completely miss is we're trying to celebrate wins. We're trying to be positive. We're trying to showcase companies, the people that are in it, and what you all do.
I really like that. And I especially like the highlighting of how can you call someone in a crisis if they don't even know who you are, if you haven't been dealing with them all the time, right? So correct. People feel like we'll just pay someone when something bad happens. But how can they tell your story if they haven't been walking with you, taking that journey?
100%.
And to the 24/7 point, we recently, I would say 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, just started bringing on having a firm full time. Like in my tenure, my 20 years here, we never had a full time. We might bring a PR firm on for an event or a special thing. I want us to talk a little bit about people who either think they don't have the budget for it or it doesn't even come across the radar. Whether you're are in place management or even small businesses who are like, PR firm, what? I don't have money for marketing. You're talking about a PR firm? What do you want me to do? Like, what's this? I don't have money coming out of my pockets. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you don't have money as a firm or as a company and you're trying to figure out, well, what can I do? How can I do it? I think what I would tell you first is I would recommend a PR firm. I would recommend an agency, or I'd recommend someone in-house to have someone be that point person for you, because for me, PR is all about messaging. It's truly understanding the people within the organization, within the client, truly understanding their goals, their mission. Because if I can't understand that, then I can't help you, I guess, exemplify that message. Going back to, I guess, budget with what you're talking about. Yes, if I'm a small business, I don't have the money, I'm like, what do I do? I think the biggest thing is you are a voice, right? Use your platforms, use social media. We'll probably talk about that in a bit too, but social media is a huge part of PR now. And I think people also don't really understand that PR and social media go hand to hand. PR is on social media is through PR. It's all symbiotic. It is all the same. So I think for companies, I would say, hey, get out there, use your voice, go on social media. You can reach out to journalists. Don't be scared. They won't bite. They might question why you're not an agency reaching out, but they will understand with a small business with low budgets. But I will say overall, there's a lot that businesses can do on their own. They can work with AI is so big right now. GEOs are really big right now, trying to make sure that they position themselves well on a ChatGPT, on a Claude, so that people, when they search, they can find your company. So there's little things that companies can do to position their messaging and make it good. I will say, as a PR firm working in an agency, we can elevate that and make it even better.
Of course. And just so people know, let's assume, so GEO is, that's an acronym for what?
Yeah, so that's an acronym for pretty much like you're searching on ChatGPT or Claude, and you're trying to find like, what are some of the top restaurants in DC? And then it would pop up as X, Y, and Z restaurants. And so you would be able to, there's resources, there's different like websites that you can use to pretty much position your company as number one, number two. It's almost like SEO. So think about a Google search, right? So that used to be kind of, not back in the day, it's still relevant now, but for SEOs, it's pretty much that for a chat, for an AI kind of look at.
So all important. I want to go back to budget for a second, because I think what happens is people solely focus on what funding they have or don't have. And I do think for some companies and organizations, it's almost you can't afford not to have a PR firm, right? But let's break down for a minute. And I don't mean like talk about your rate. I mean what goes into it, because I think there's this misconception about agencies and what happens. And to your point that you said, people assume that there's only work happening when there's a crisis, but no, there are things happening around that. So talk about the behind the scenes, what it takes for an agency to represent a company and be that agency of record on a day-to-day basis. Yeah,
I mean, I think step one is you need to understand who you're working with inside and out. That's getting to know everyone from their internal comms director to all the way up to the CEO, to their board of directors, to the assistant, understanding who is just in the org chart in general to understand the company. Again, their mission, their values, I think are the biggest things that people just forget about, because you think of like, I'm trying to think of an example, like a Snickers. Like if I was trying to work for Snickers and help them out, like I would need to understand not only their product and what they do and who they sell to, but why they're selling it. Why are they doing it? Why are they creating new flavors? Why are they trying X, Y, and Z? So I think for PR firms, it's really, you're trying to understand who they are, but then you're also trying to figure out strategy, right? You're trying to figure out, how do we do this? When do we do this? And why do we do this? So it's almost, you're going back to school, right? 5 W's, who, what, where, why. Like you are really, it is down to the core. You're trying to understand, who is this company? How can I help them move forward? And now my strategy would be hours of research, hours of writing, hours of trying to figure out, well, this messaging might be good for this audience, but this one actually might be good for this audience. So how do I break that apart and really, break it down and see how that works? And I think then you have a whole nother level with journalists and media, right? How do you manage that relationship, introducing them to your client, vice versa? What do they want to know? What does your client want to know about that reporter? So there is so much in the weeds that we can get into just about what we do. But I think, in general, that's kind of my overall.
And I think the journalist point is a good one, because I think that's a benefit of working with a PR firm. You already have the relationships. You have those established. You know what the journalists are looking for. And so, like you said, not that they won't talk to Joe Schmo, or whatever your name is, but having an established relationship helps. But also, I think maybe sometimes people think that it's I'm just going to give you the information as a PR firm and you're going to go do it. No, we're walking hand in hand because on the client side, I'm living, breathing this every day. And even though you are doing the research to get up to speed, I'm helping you along the way. It's never okay, here, do it. It's like, no, we're going through the 5 W's every single time. There's the larger who, what, when, where, and why of the organization or the destination, the place. And then there is the thing we're doing is the who, what, when, where, and why. Because at the end of the day, it is about the reach. And I think the why is critical too. I think oftentimes the why hasn't been crystallized. And it's a lot about, we just want to get out there. We want to get coverage. Why do you want to get coverage? What do you want to get coverage on? Let's go back to the journalist for a minute. A person who doesn't have a PR firm. How do they approach a journalist? What do they do? Like, let's break it down. You're talking to my son who's 16 years old. He just launched his editing company. He's editing for Grounded. You know, so what does he do? He wants to reach out to a journalist. What does he do?
I mean, my biggest thing is I would look online. I'd look at the masthead, which is pretty much just a typical website for a newspaper of a broadcast organization. You find the about section. You even find the contact section. Usually all the journalists' names are on there. You go ahead, usually there's their emails. It's like a very easy way, same with social media, right? I can look up my favorite anchor on NBC4 and I can find their email on social media. I can write them an email. I can reach out to them. I can give them a pitch. It's very similar to what we do is, hey, I am Samantha Pell. I'm representing the downtown DC bid. They have this event coming up. I'd really love for you all to cover this. Here are the reasons why. This is the person that I can talk to. Anyone can do that. I think people sometimes forget that they can't. The difference is that typically, like you said, PR agencies, publicists already have relationships with journalists, with reporters. We go back years and years from times when we've done stories with them in the past. It's easier, right? Think of like a cold call. If I'm cold calling you and I'm like, hi, I'm so-and-so, they might hang up the phone. But if they see me and they understand who I am, they might be like, okay, I'll take her call today. I feel like I'm in a good mood enough to take Sam's call. But yeah, the thing is anyone can do it if they want to. It's just understanding how do you approach them? How do you get your point across? What are you trying to sell in a non-selling manner?
And the time commitment, because it takes time. Like, how far into this are you going to go? And whether as an entrepreneur or even some larger organizations like ours who maybe don't have a PR firm, but have a Marcom team, but it still takes time.
It's so much time.
We know. It's a huge amount of, first of all, forget about pitching to journalists for a second. Sitting down to write a press release.
It is time.
Oh my goodness. Like any day of the week, I'm so happy. Like, hey, Sam, I need this press release. And then we work together. But the time it would take me to now move away from what I'm doing, dedicated time to do it, hash it out. I also think that you guys said this when we were interviewing you all, like think of us as an extension of your team.
100%.
And that was great because it's streamlining our workflow and it's helping us work more strategically. And so I think people have to think about all those things. So let's tie the knot on this really quick. I'm a person, I've reached out. In my approach to a journalist, am I being succinct? What do they need to know? Like, what are 3 things I need to know if I'm reaching out to a journalist on my own?
Yeah, I would say 1, you need to understand what this journalist covers. That is the biggest mistake that anyone can make is, hey, my favorite anchor at NBC, but maybe they only cover, the weather in the morning, right? And I am a restaurant. That is not the right way to go, right? So you can't just get on TV by reaching out to anyone. You'd be like, I want to find the restaurant F&B reporter for this publication, this broadcast organization. I'm going to reach out directly to them. That would be step 1 is understanding who you're reaching out to. The next would be introducing yourself, hyperlinking. You would be surprised how many people don't hyperlink their business. They don't hyperlink their LinkedIn. Something to make the journalists understand that you are credible, you are factual, you aren't maybe not just a random Joe Schmo off the street. You have a story. So I would say that would be my second one. And then I think my third one would just be I love bullet points in my emails. I love bolding in my emails. I think getting your point across so quick and saying, hey, I'd love to catch up. It depends, again, what your end goal is. Is it, are you trying to get on air? Are you just trying to make kind of an introduction? Maybe it's, hey, do you want to come down to the restaurant? We'll give you a free meal. And that's really all you want from this.
Okay.
Or is it, oh, I want to go on air. I want you to write me a story. I think sometimes the best way to go is networking. It's just, hey, I'm reaching out. I just want to get to know you. You want to grab a cup of coffee on me? That's the best way to go.
Yeah. And I think what you said there too is going back to the why.
Yeah.
Knowing what you want. So when you're reaching out, it's not just you don't know. The people need to know what it is you want. Okay, let's kind of sort of change gears for a second. If I have decided that I do want a PR firm, that I'm going to delve into this deep water. I'm going to do it. I'm going to find the money. What am I looking for? How does a person, how does an organization, a business choose a PR firm?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways nowadays, I think, with social media and all that. But I would say find an organization that you trust, that you like, that you've seen kind of their marketing and business and PR strategy, and you can ask them. And be like, hey, who does your PR? Or like, hey, who have you heard? Because I think the best contacts always come from people that you trust.
Yeah.
And so if you already have something in mind of, oh, I really like how they've done press releases, or they get on the news a lot, or I've seen that, then I would reach out to them and say, hey, just like, what do you do? What, who did you hire? Who do you know? And usually it's a small world. PR, everyone typically knows someone who knows someone else who is able to do something. So I think that would be my first step, is just always mimicking, or at least looking at what you like and seeing what they do.
Okay.
I think the other thing good to know, we were just talking about it before, is there's a bunch of different types of PR firms.
Yeah.
Some are very general. LRA PR, who I work for, we're a boutique hospitality PR firm. So we do like hospitality and tourism and larger kind of corporate events and consumer events. But we also do a lot of other things with nonprofits and with, tech conferences and sports leagues and things like that. But some of them are very specific. Some are just restaurants. Some are just tech. Some are just auto. Some are energy PR firms. So it does take a little bit of research and time. But I think when you are choosing a PR firm, I'd look at their past clients. I'd look at their past work. I would ask for examples of how they see you working hand in hand with your business. What do they see? What do they envision? And sometimes things click. Sometimes they don't. Like sometimes a PR firm will be a great fit for one. It really will not be for another. And someone else will be able to take that business to new heights. And one PR firm just doesn't have the exact, aha moment as others. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
And
you just know.
Right. And I think too, it's a little bit like, do you know what you're looking for? So it's helpful even if you go through a bad experience or not so good experience, because you don't want that. But I think for me, I need to see myself working with you, with the firm, with the people. It doesn't matter how good your credentials are on paper. If I don't see myself working with you, it's not going to work. And I think that's an important part of interviews. I've learned over the years that the interview goes both ways. They're interviewing me to see if they want me as a client, but I'm interviewing you. It's my money. This is my
it's in
money.
Reverse.
Exactly. I don't care how much money it is. It's my money. And I'm saying my because it's the company, but still, if I'm a small business owner, it is my money. So you are going to, I don't want to say give me what I want, but at least learn how to ask the questions of what you're looking for. I think the other thing that I didn't realize too, until working with several consultants in different arenas, is the way people work. Like some companies are good at what they do, but they're terrible project managers. Oh my gosh, you have no agenda for the meeting. You're late to the meeting. And I think understanding who you're working with day to day. So if you're telling someone, here's what you should look for in the interview, what would you tell someone to look for?
Yeah, I mean, I would say everything that you just said, but I think it is the way that someone positions themselves and the way that they approach a conversation. I mean, I love when people, questions go both ways, right? Like the clients obviously have questions for us, but I think if you're a small business, I would love to hear a PR firm ask questions to you and say like, how do you foresee, our relationship? How do you think the next 3 months are going to go? What success have you had in the past 3 months, or, pitfalls that you've had? How do you envision us helping you along with that? And so I think that's always a good note for me. I think is always what we try to do is ask a lot of questions, because again, it's not just a one-sided thing. We want to work hand in hand. We want to be right next to you through all of it. So I think that would be my number one thing. And then I think the other is just good ideas, which it sounds like really easy, right?
It's not, though.
And very simple, but it's not. And it's just like, you can tell that they've had the research, the time to understand your business, and they aren't coming in cold and just saying, here's my typical deck. This is what I say to everyone. Like, any questions? No, it's, hey, I saw that you did this last year. Are you going to do this again? Or, hey, like, I noticed this. Like, have you thought about X, Y, and Z? And like, oh, like, what have you, it's a conversation. And I love when interviews are a conversation, because, or else I think it's just, it's kind of stale. It's not anything exciting or new. And for a new business who hasn't done PR before, I think it's like, you're putting your neck out, right? You're putting a lot of money into it, and you want to see that they're dedicated, they understand what you do, and they're not just blind, oh, next one on my list.
And I think the interview could be an indication about the relationship. So if you're not bringing ideas to the interview, are you going to bring new ideas when we're working together?
Yeah.
So, and LRA has a lot of good ideas, just by the way. So, okay, shifting gears for a second. How is doing PR for a place different than doing PR for a business or a product?
Yeah, I think doing PR for a place is, again, I keep on going back to this, but it's really truly understanding and researching the mission of the place. You're understanding a lot more, it sounds simple, the general news of what is happening in the area across multiple sectors, right? You're talking about arts, culture, entertainment, politics, just foot traffic numbers. I can't imagine before we started working with you all, just the amount of foot traffic numbers that I've looked at and the sheets and sheets of papers that we've dealt with, you know, percentages and things like that. And so I think as a place, you're really trying to figure out tourism, right? It's almost like, how do I want to sell a place versus selling a business? A business is one small entity, very important, but it is within a place. As a place, you're trying to hit so many little different things at one time.
Tell me about it.
So how do I do that? But do I want to do it all at one time? Do I want to take out little pockets? Is it a per quarter mission? Is it half of the year mission? Is it, what do I focus on this week versus next week? Is it leaders, thought leadership? Is that how we're going to do it? Is it going through other businesses? So it's all strategy, and it's all thinking about how we want to represent a place as a whole without isolating and without forgetting other things within the place. With the business, I think it's a little bit easier. I don't want to say easy because it's hard, but
it is. All of it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, what you said about the strategy and what are you looking for, that's where that partnership comes into play, because a lot of times people have goals, right? They have goals of things they want to hit quarterly, of how many impressions they want. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know, especially when you're new in it. It's like, I don't know what I want and what I need. But I think understanding the place, and I will say with the place, probably the same with the business, but what are the assets? What are the highlights? What are the things that you know you have going for you? Because I think one thing that people can fall prey to, which isn't good, is let's just try to make it sound like everything's good. Well, everything's not good everywhere. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I wish.
Right. And so you know, like, where your strengths and your weaknesses are, but let's play to those strengths. And that's where I see a lot of the partnership in us making sure you have the numbers, us making sure we're framing the numbers for you, us making sure that you know how many restaurants we have, you know, how many, well, destination restaurants and hotel rooms and all the things. So it is very much a lock step. It's not I'm just giving it to you and then you're making it up.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions maybe about PR, is that we can just kind of wave our magic wand and we get a press release all of a sudden. No, actually, the client, you do a lot of the legwork leading up to something like that, of letting us know what is newsworthy. What do we want to have in? What is coming down your pipeline? Because sometimes we don't know what that is. We're not in the meetings every single day to understand what is important and what's next. So I think a lot of the times people will think, oh, I hired a PR firm and now done, they can do what they need to do. No, there is a lot of every day working with someone, calling someone, understanding and like telling me information, because I don't know what I don't know. I can try to guess what I don't know, but that might lead to some interesting things. So I think that's what, I think that's a good point. One of the biggest things is, clients also need to kind of put their best foot forward in a relationship with the PR agency, and work hand in hand.
Also, you can't write a press release out of thin air. So you're going to write a press release and you don't have the who, you don't have the what, you don't have the why. Like you still have to provide it and provide the framing, because at the end of the day, it's really two-sided. It's the information I want to promote. It's also who is interested in this information. Some of the stuff people are trying to get out is like, stab me in my toe. No one cares.
And a lot of people will do that too. They'll just throw press releases out the window because they think that like any news is good news and get it out. But in reality, no, it's not. You need to step back and think. Reporters get so many emails. Like I was a journalist before going into PR, and there would be so many releases in my inbox that were not relevant to me, that I didn't care about. Who is this? This is in Tennessee. I'm in Washington, D.C. So like a lot of different things that maybe people don't understand is journalists don't just get one. Like they don't just get my call every day, right? They get a lot of people's calls. So how can we make my clients stand out versus all the other emails, all the other calls, all the other news in general happening around the world? How can we make that stand out? And that's about strategic planning, messaging, branding. Everyone's on the same page, and then we can move forward.
Absolutely. And understanding your market. One of the things, we struggle with is we're in DC. This is, I don't even know, what are we, top 5 markets? And the news, so, depending upon what's happening in the administration, that determines the news cycle. So no one cares about this event that's happening or this thing over here, because that is not what is trending right now. And so understanding the timing and what the atmosphere of the, what am I trying to say?
It's like the temperature. Yeah, you're trying to gauge, like, is the audience going to care about this? Like, if something tragic, right, obviously just happened yesterday, I'm not going to put out a happy-go-lucky story to pitches to reporters the next day. And so I think it's, timing, it's understanding the news, it's your TV is on 24/7. We are in DC. We need to understand street closures, right? Parades, like marathons, like all these random things that you don't think of when you think of PR, but that affects my timing. That affects messaging. That affects history even of, this event just happened. Well, this event also just happened. So maybe I should tie that into this because that will get a bigger audience. It's a lot of, again, just research, time, communication. But then once you all put it together, it's the complete package.
For sure. And then, reporters, they have to report to somebody. They have marketing orders, like all the things.
They have a boss.
Exactly. We all do. So I think it's time for our taste test. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, cool. You're going to taste a natural version of a Sprite.
Thank you.
And I'm going to do the same. And then you're going to pitch it. And we're going to pick your audience here.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. Okay. Were you ready?
Yes, ready.
All right. It's so refreshing.
I know. I was like, wait, this is nice.
Okay. Do you want to know what's in it?
I do.
Okay. Half a lemon.
Okay.
Half a lime. Agave. Lime sparkling water. That's it.
Really?
Yes, that's it.
It tastes like a Sprite.
Right?
It tastes like just a Sprite.
Yeah. Shout out to Jay Does Invest. That's where I got the recipe from.
No, that tastes really good. Okay.
Okay. So let's pick your audience.
Okay. I'm like, let's see. Health conscious individuals.
Oh, that's so easy, right? Okay, yours should be easy.
That's easy. Okay. My pitch to health conscious individuals would be this natural Sprite with its agave, naturally sweetened, naturally with, lemon, lime. It's perfect for mixing with other drinks as well. But you can have it in the morning, you can have it in the afternoon, you can have it at night. And it's across all age groups, right? Anyone can be health conscious nowadays. So my mom, my sister, my grandparents, my little baby cousin, they could all have this. It's super simple, easy. It's not pop. It's not fizz. It's natural.
Okay, I love it. How about we take it one step further?
Yes.
You guys represent a lot of restaurants, right?
Yep.
So let's say this is a new, and I don't know how restaurants promote, if it's like menus or drinks or whatever, but let's say this is now a new drink item for one of the restaurants. What would you tell them, or what would you need to know in order to now promote this? Is this all of what we just said before? Like, tell me now. We've been working together. I'm a restaurant. So what's the conversation?
Yeah, I think that this is your new drink on your menu. You're trying to get it out again to like very health conscious individuals. I would say, well, when did this idea start?
Okay.
Who made it? When did it come into inception? Was it like a little idea? Was it the local owner that decided to put this on? Was it an employee? Was it a distributor that wanted this on the menu? How can we market this knowing the story from the beginning to the end? And then it's, well, who is this geared towards? Are we feeling like this is with food? Is it solo? Is this a mixer even maybe if we wanted to put this out? But could we add some fun flavors in it? Could we make this seasonal? Could we have like a cherry blossom syrup that we put in it for cherry blossom season?
Oh, you're talking about language? Okay.
Could we do some like lavender for the spring? And so I think it's that next question of, okay, this is amazing. I love this product. I know I can market it out to people in a restaurant as a special, as a happy hour special, as a daily special, as just a new item. But can we take it one step further? Yeah. Can we add more stuff to it? Can it be a combo? Can it be, the chef's choice with X, Y, and Z? Can we pair it with something? What are the flavor notes? Can we pitch it even to trade magazines who want to know the new drinks going around the restaurant industry? So I think there's a lot of different outlets that you can work with here. And I think, people would forget that it's not just a new drink and it happens. You have to have a strategy behind putting out that new drink to your customers and to your audience. You didn't wave a wand,
but
exactly,
you literally just ran through a campaign.
Yeah.
I also think in the questions you asked, it shows the importance of getting a firm that understands you. Like I would have never thought about, can you add a syrup? Can you do seasonal? But I think that's the important part when you're picking a PR firm is I'm not picking out of thin air. I'm not just picking someone who's the cheapest either, but I'm picking someone who's interested in my industry, who has expertise, who's going to be excited, who's going to have ideas. Like all of that was 15, 30 seconds. We'll put a timer on there, but of like, let's talk about this even more and let me understand the genesis of where this came from.
Yeah, it's about curiosity. I think that's my one of my number one things is, and what I try to do with all my clients is I want to be curious. Like if I'm not curious about you and what you do and the mission and the values, I'm probably not the right person for your business. You should be able to feel the same enthusiasm and level of curiosity that you already have yourself for your own job. Okay. So I think that's one of the biggest things is, you need to be curious, ask questions. It's a back and forth. It's a conversation. Yeah. It should not be talking to a wall. It should not be all cameras off and I'm just sitting there with my agenda, right? It is a conversation. Right. We are trying to work towards the same goal. Yeah. Like, let me help you do that, please.
Help me help you.
Exactly.
Right? Help me help you. Okay, let's talk for a quick second about social media. And how,
let's get into it.
What do we want to say? How social media has changed PR, the new landscape. We can go any number of ways. Where do we want to start?
I think social media in general, I was thinking about this actually the other day, was how many news organizations are on social media? And just thinking about that fact for like 1 second, right? Because when you think about pitching reporters, you're like, okay, I want to get on TV or I want to get in a magazine feature. They also have a social media. So are you also thinking in your strategy of, well, how do I make sure that my article or my client gets now placed on social media? So then that gets amplified to even more of the public? Because I think a lot of people are now getting their news, as we all know, on social media. Yeah. So how can I not only utilize, if I'm on Forbes, I get my client in Forbes. That's amazing. How many people are reading Forbes on a daily basis? Right. But how many people are on Instagram who might just happen to see my suggested, Instagram for Forbes with some amazing photos and videos of my client doing something that they're talking about in the article. So I think it's understanding that social media and PR, they work hand in hand and they're not separate. Like they're together.
They're not separate, they're together.
They're not separate.
Okay, so how do we deal with this landscape that is so saturated? Because I think some people feel like if I can just get on social media, I'll be fine. But I think part of it that we talked about is the strategy. Yep. So I don't know. What's the question here? Maybe the question is, how are you as a firm, how have you incorporated social media into your strategy for your clients in public relations? Yeah, I think social media is just an extension of your PR work. So my same messaging and branding that I would want to do for the company that I'm working for in a press release, I want to mimic that on social media, but understand my audience, right? Like I think the drinking the soda and the tasting is very like, it goes hand in hand in this because it's who is my audience on social versus who is my audience on broadcast opportunities, who is my audience in a magazine versus who is my audience for the Washington Post. Nice. And so it's trying to tailor your messaging for each of those
slightly differently. And so that's really what a good PR firm will do is you won't have the same talking points for a broadcast segment on like a WUSA 9 or NBC4 or something like that versus the same talking points or messaging that you want to do on social media. You'll have the same thread, the same like invisible string, right? But there's certain keywords that you can pull out that will kind of capture the attention of different audiences in different ways. If that makes sense.
No, of course. No, I like it. I like it. And I think it's good info because I think sometimes there is this one size fits all for every platform, every outlet. And it's not. Just like you said, it's different. And I think to that same point, in the same way you are looking for the reporter who covers what you cover, you got to do the same with influencers. Am I right? I mean, I found that so helpful when we were doing the Downtown DC Holiday Market and, you know, you guys helping us come up with this strategy of, no, we're going to check and see who covers this. We're going to check their following and we're going to see who we think, you know, a tiered approach. So let's talk about that for a second, about working with influencers.
Yeah, influencers nowadays, I think, are some of the biggest news creators, makers in the PR world. I think we'll always have traditional media. That's never going away. Shout out, like, journalism school. But,
Me too.
But, like, that's never going to go away. But I do think it's going to change. And with influencers, they're a third party who's coming in with no specific training, with no specific, like, this is how I grew up, this is how I learned, did everything. I'm just coming from my own opinions and how I see the world. And there's no like code, right? They have no boss, as we go back to. There's no one to report to. It's really their opinion based. So how can agencies, businesses work with influencers who have no like ties to you, have no like no one to report to? And so how can you make the experience best for them? I do think here in DC is like a very good example. There's a lot of influencers. It is a saturated market. However, what they do and how they operate, they all do it a little bit differently. Some, you know, they just do food. Some do lifestyle. Some do food and lifestyle. And it's all about understanding their audience, who they really report to, the engagement. A lot of the times is the big thing. You can have 1 million followers, but you might have 2 likes. What does that do for me?
Nothing.
Nothing. And so you want to understand how they react. And also I think it's almost like vetting, reporters, but also in the sense of when you're vetting someone that you're trying to hire for influence, you're kind of vetting, well, do you believe in the brand? Do you believe in what I'm doing? Can you sell what I'm trying to sell? And see if you want to work with them. Because sometimes they might not know, they might not care, and the end result might not be great. But if you get an influencer coming in saying, hey, I love what you do, a restaurant, for example, I love your food, I've been in 1 million times, I'd love to make a video for you. You already have that understanding that they know what you are, and you can kind of coach them through it and make it even better. But yeah, influencers are, I think, the way of the future. It's just how you use them and how you can best benefit both parties. And
speaking of influencers, how do people know when they should pay for an influencer and how much to pay? How do you figure that out?
It's a great question. I think it all depends on markets. And since we're a national agency, so we can kind of see where things are happening in different markets, the numbers are across the board. Like I will say in DC, there's always kind of a consensus among influencers. You can kind of tell what the baseline is, just what they're throwing out there. In some other markets, that number might be 100 versus 1,000 is the minimum. In some other places, maybe like a New York or in LA. I think a lot of the times you have to think of it as paid media spend. It's almost like you're paying into a campaign. I would put influencers in your campaign budgets if I were a business. I would say, hey, this is something that I'm paying. This is something that I'm replacing a radio ad or a TV ad for. I'm just going to do it on social media. And I'm going to see how that happens. Kind of same with paid boosts, right? You can boost your posts on Instagram, on Facebook, through Meta. How is that going to differ than paying an influencer? I don't really have like a great answer in terms of a baseline, but it's all about market research, right? It's trying to figure out like, here's the top 20 influencers in DC. What are their rates? Okay, I can kind of tell what makes sense and what doesn't.
I get it for sure. So we can talk about this all day long.
I know.
So I want to give you a chance to share. So if you want to share how people can find you on social, how they can find LRA on social or your website, and anything else you want to say about you or LRA, now's your chance.
Okay. Yes, well, you can find LRA PR on Instagram, on Facebook. We're Linda Roth PR. On both of those, our websites also lindarothpr.com. I'm Samantha J. Pell on Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things. I mean, I would just say that I mean, in general, I think LRA and what we do, we've been in DC for the last 40 years. Our founder, Linda, started it as a hospitality firm, and we've now grown it, into hospitality, tourism, lifestyle, consumer shows, sports leagues, tech conferences, really anything under the sun. And I would just say that when you look for a PR firm, look for people who care about you, who are curious about you, who really understand what you do, and you'll have a great relationship overall. And that's what I would say.
I love it. What's the website URL again?
Yes, LindaRothPR.com.
Okay. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode of Why Marketing Isn't Magic. Find out more about Linda Roth Associates at LindaRothPR.com and find out more about Downtown DC at downtowndc.org. Make it your next destination. I look forward to seeing you downtown. See you next time.